At my dad's birthday party, while everyone else was laughing, clinking glasses, and piling their plates high with food, I stood there holding a small, stale piece of dry bread on a napkin. That was it, no cake, no proper meal, just that. And when I looked up, confused and embarrassed, my stepmother leaned closer with this cold, almost satisfied smile and whispered, "That's all you deserve." I remember standing there frozen, feeling like the entire room had just gone silent, even though the music was still playing and people were still talking. I wanted to disappear, but instead I just stood there, gripping that piece of bread like it was proof of something I hadn't fully understood yet. So tell me honestly, was I wrong for what I did after that? Growing up, my relationship with my dad used to be simple. It wasn't perfect, but it was warm. My mom passed away when I was 10, and for a while it was just me and him. We struggled, sure, but there was this unspoken understanding between us. He worked long hours, and I tried to stay out of trouble. We leaned on each other in a quiet way. Then, about 3 years later, he met her. My stepmother. At first, I tried to be open-minded. I really did. She was polite in front of him, always smiling, always saying the right things. But the moment he wasn't around, something about her shifted. It was subtle at first, little. Comments about how I should be more grateful, how I needed to earn my place in the house. I brushed it off because I thought maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe she was just strict. But things didn't stay subtle for long. Over time, her tone got sharper, her patience thinner. She controlled everything. What I ate, when I used the internet, even how long I could stay in the living room. My dad didn't see it, or maybe he didn't want to. Whenever I tried to bring it up, he'd sigh and say things like, "She's just trying to keep things organized," or "give her time." Meanwhile, she started favoring her own son, my stepbrother, who was 2 years younger than me. He got new clothes, gadgets, and attention. I got hand-me-downs and silence. By the time I turned 16, I felt like a stranger in my own home. Meals were the worst part. There were nights when everyone would sit down to eat together, but somehow my portion would be smaller, or forgotten entirely. If I said anything, she'd roll her eyes and claim I was being dramatic. And my dad? He'd just sit there, uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact. That hurt more than anything she ever said. Then came the birthday party. It was my dad's 50th birthday, and she decided to throw this big, over-the-top celebration. The house was decorated like something out of a magazine. Balloons, lights, a huge table full of food, biryani, grilled meat, desserts, everything. Relatives, friends, even some of my dad's coworkers were there. From the outside, it looked perfect. Like we were this happy, successful family. I helped set everything up. I carried chairs, arranged plates, cleaned the backyard. Not once did she thank me. Not once did she even acknowledge I was helping. But I kept going because it was my dad's day, and I wanted him to be happy. When the guests started arriving, I stayed mostly in the background. I didn't feel like I belonged in that crowd. Every time I tried to join a conversation, my stepmother would give me this look, like I was out of place, like I didn't fit the image she was trying to present. Then it was time to eat. Everyone lined up, laughing and chatting, filling their plates. I waited until the line got shorter because I didn't want to draw attention. When I finally stepped forward, I noticed something strange. The serving dishes that had been full just minutes ago were suddenly almost empty. I hesitated, confused, but before I could say anything, she stepped in. "Oh, don't worry," she said loudly enough for a couple of nearby guests to hear. "I saved something for you." She handed me a napkin with that dry, hard piece of bread. No curry, no rice, nothing else. At first I thought it was a joke. A bad one, but still a joke. I looked at her, expecting her to laugh or correct herself. But she didn't. She just leaned in and whispered, "That's all you deserve." I felt my face burn. I could feel people glancing at me, even if they didn't fully understand what was happening. I looked at my dad. He was across the room, talking to someone completely oblivious. In that moment, something inside me cracked. I walked away quietly and stood near the corner of the backyard, staring at that piece of bread. My hands were shaking, not just from anger, but from years of built-up frustration. All the small humiliations, all the times I stayed silent, all the moments I convinced myself it wasn't that bad. They all came rushing back at once, and then I made a decision. But before I tell you what I did, I want you to think about it. Imagine being in that situation. Years of being treated like you don't matter. And then this, being publicly humiliated at your own dad's birthday party. What would you have done? Would you have stayed quiet again? Or would you have finally said something? Because what I did next changed everything. I walked straight back into the house, went to my room and grabbed my phone. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. For months, I had been documenting things. Small things at first, missed meals, unfair treatment, but over time it became more serious. I had recordings, videos, even screenshots of messages she had sent me when my dad wasn't around. I didn't even fully realize why I was collecting all of it at the time. Maybe part of me knew this moment would come. I connected my phone to the living room TV. The party was still going strong when I walked back in. People were laughing, music was playing, glasses were clinking. No one noticed me at first. Then I picked up the remote and hit play. At first there was confusion. The music cut off, replaced by the sound of my stepmother's voice, sharp, angry, unmistakable. The screen showed a video of her yelling at me over something small, calling me ungrateful, telling me I was a burden. The room went silent almost instantly. Heads turned, conversations stopped. Then another clip played, and another, each one showing a different moment: her insults, her manipulation, the way she treated me when no one else was watching. Saw my dad's face change as he watched. Confusion turned into disbelief, then into something deeper, something heavier. She tried to grab the remote, but I stepped back. For the first time, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel powerless. You wanted everyone to see what kind of family this is. I said, my voice shaking, but loud enough for everyone to hear. So here it is. The final clip was from earlier that evening, the moment. She handed me that piece of bread and whispered those words. I had recorded it without even thinking. That's all you deserve. You could have heard a pin drop. No one said anything. For a few seconds. Then the whispers started. People looking at her, at me, at my dad. She tried to laugh it off, saying it was taken out of context, that I was being dramatic. But it didn't work, not this time. The evidence was right there. My dad finally spoke. "What is this?" he asked, his voice low, almost unrecognizable. She started making excuses, blaming me, saying I was difficult, that I pushed her to act that way, but it sounded weak, even to her own ears. He turned to me. "Is this true?" I nodded. I couldn't even trust my voice at that point. The look on his face. I'll never forget it. It wasn't just anger. It was guilt, realization, regret. That night didn't end like a party. People started leaving quietly, awkwardly. The decorations suddenly felt meaningless. The laughter was gone. After everyone left, there was a confrontation. A long one. I stayed in my room for most of it. But I could hear raised voices, arguments, things being said that had probably been building up for years. Within a week, she was gone. My dad and I had a lot to talk about after that. It wasn't easy. There were apologies, questions, long silences. He admitted he had ignored signs, that he chose peace over truth because it was easier, and that hurt, but at least he was finally being honest. Things didn't magically become perfect, but they got better. Slowly, as for me, I stopped feeling invisible. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. It was messy. It was dramatic, but it was also the first time I stood up for myself in a way that couldn't be ignored sometimes. People won't see the truth until you force them to. So, yeah, that's my story. If you think I was right to expose everything the way I did, go ahead and like this video. If you've ever been in a situation where you felt invisible or mistreated, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more real, intense stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all in the next story.